Welcome to another Greater Tax Returns Training Essentials tutorial. In this session one, part two, we're going to share with you a little bit of the history, mission, and values of Greater Tax Returns. And also we're going to give you insight on some of the duties that is expected of a tax preparer. Now, Greater Tax Returns started back in 2014. It is actually a young couple by myself and Nathan McGee, who's my partner and my husband and my buddy. Well, we started this Christian-based business because number one, we had experience in doing so. Number two, we were motivated and inspired by a couple of our sons who actually started a tax preparation business. And number three, we wanted to bring our 40-year entrepreneurship experience into this business. And number four, we wanted to also bless others in obtaining opportunity through financial gain in this business as well. And also number five, the most important thing is helping our clientele understand the tax preparation process, and also understanding how they can benefit, whether they get a return or not, how they can benefit either or. Tommy and I, we have over 40 years of entrepreneurship business and other business ventures. One of them specifically is the web development and design. We had been fortunate enough to be a part of that industry for over 15 years. And in doing so, we know a lot about marketing online, and how to do it. A lot of folks are familiar with a lot of the apps and softwares that you can use to market, but how to do it is a different story and the proper process. Tommy retired as an engineer for Ford Motor Company, and I was a recognized fine artist. Back in the 90s is where I got my start, and I was quite successful back then when a company picked up my imagery, my work of art, and decided to mass produce it and sell my work across the country in the private home industry or home show industry. And it was pretty cool. It was really nice. And as a matter of fact, I am actually at this time reinventing myself as a fine artist. We both retired and decided to go into what we are passionate about, and just kind of love on each other and bless each other and bless others that come on board with us. And our goal is simply to bless others with our expertise through education and shared opportunity, so that anyone can prosper from this opportunity or by this opportunity. So that is so important with us. So you can actually, once you receive your hard copy or your e-guide that you can download from the website, if you haven't already, and more than likely prior to you even seeing this video, you should have probably downloaded the guide. You can actually follow along from page 15. So everything that I'm sharing with you now, you can literally follow along with us. And right here, generally on the top of each page, you'll actually see the page that we're actually referring to, just to kind of notate that, okay? Now, one important factor about being a tax preparer is a lot of times people want to do this because they think it's lucrative. They think they could generate a certain income within a certain period of time, and it's usually during tax season. A lot of our agents do, and then they get into other things after that tax season. But it's always good to know what the benefits are in being a tax preparer. So we're just going to kind of go through these and share with you some of those factors. Number one, some of the benefits of actually becoming a professional tax preparer is that you can enjoy the advantages that aren't as readily available in other industries. Number one, flexibility, freedom. You make your own hours because you are an independent contractor. Now, keep in mind that greater tax return structure is a little different than most. Some companies, they bring you in, they hire you, they pay you, so much amount of an hour, and you're kind of forced to have to sit there and process returns if there's any returns to process. And working with greater tax returns, you don't have to. You work at your own. You're responsible for your own destiny. So an important characteristic that many individuals seek in a job is the surety of having a stable career that will provide income and satisfaction. Completing tax preparers training and starting your new career as a tax expert allows this kind of envy stability, and it does. I mean, you do make great money at this because everybody needs their taxes processed. Whether you process 50 in a tax season, or a couple of hundred, or a couple thousand, you're going to do well in this. You're going to do well in this. Unlike other industries that are affected by the recession problems or recession problems in any period in time, taxes are an integral part of living, and tax preparers are constantly in demand, and that's the truth. There's job flexibility in this type of career. There's a lot of flexibility in this. You can set your own hours. You can work at your own pace. And the great part about this all is you can work anywhere. You can work out of your home. You can work at one of our locations, or we've got agents working from the library. Believe it or not, they're meeting clients at the library. As some of you know, some of the libraries, depending on where you're at in the country, have little conference rooms where some of these agents go in to meet their clients at the library, coffee shops, tech shop, or computer shops, those type of things. Or they may have their own office. So you can be as creative as possible when it comes to, creating your own scheduling. The monetary satisfaction is great. Now, one great thing about becoming a tax preparer working for an agency is that the agency kind of presents its umbrella over you, securing you. And what we mean by that, you can easily go off and get a PTIN number from the IRS and process tax returns through a software like TurboTax or what have you, but you're not guaranteed that you're going to get your commission or your fees, because the person is not obligated to pay you. Okay, but through an agency, there is a process that is taken where your fees are automatically taken out once it reaches the e-filing system through the IRS. Okay. And we're going to get into that later. We're going to show you how that all works. It's pretty cool because you're guaranteed. You're guaranteed that you're going to get your fees. You sign a contract with the agency. The agency is obligated to pay you based on the returns that you process. Now, get this. Even though you're working under that agency with that agency's EFIN number, and how they obtain that is through a rigorous process that you go through with the IRS, and also the agent receives what you call a PTIN number. You cannot process returns unless you acquire that PTIN number, and it's $50 fee that is paid through the IRS. And part of that fee, when you come on board with us, the $175.50 comes out of that to pay for your PTIN number. So that's required. We can't hire you unless you have the PTIN number, and you cannot process tax returns in exchange for money unless you have a PTIN number, or you can get in big trouble with the IRS if they find out that you're doing it. So the monetary um, aspect of becoming benefits when it comes to tax preparation is the sky's the limit. It's up to you. You know, it's really up to you on uh, how you want this to grow. But the beauty is, once you obtain that trust factor from that client, and that's with anybody, family, friends, client. Once you do that, educate them, get them involved with what you're doing as a tax preparer. Usually that person, if you can get them what they want, and so let's say you got them a little bit more, or you educated them about something that they had no clue about, and or you got them out of trouble, and that's what we believe in doing. Trust me, that client will stick with you. So let's say you got 100 people or 200 or 300 people on board with you. That is a great living. That's a great living, or more. That's a great living, and you can benefit incredibly from that. The ability to help others is our last point. Uh, that's important to us, period. We're not in business just to make money. We're in business also to help others. And one thing that I believe is, if you're helping others and people believe in you, guess what? People are going to invest in you. People are going to stick with you. They're going to actually be loyal. So that's all key to being a successful tax preparer. Okay, so we're on page 16 in your Greater Tax Return Guide. So let's find out what is a tax preparer. And I'm just going to read verbatimly some of these tips, and that way we won't miss anything, and I don't extemporaneously jump around. So a tax preparer have an important job that requires earning the trust of the client. It is the responsibility of a tax preparer payer to prepare and submit payer to prepare and submit an accurate income tax return to the Internal Revenue Service. If the preparer makes a mistake, the tax preparer can incur late fees and penalties. Tax preparers must keep up to date on a continual changing on the continual changing tax code and have knowledge of both federal and state laws. And so that's basically what you need to know. Now, do you need to know, memorize all the tax laws? No. Why? Because the software basically does it for you. But there is a due diligent process, meaning there is a process in which we do need to keep up with the rules, and they're very simple to do. And that's make sure you're maintaining proper paperwork, and that you acquire the paperwork from the client, and that you make sure that you're inputting data into the system properly. Okay, so that's what this is. The duties, and from 1 to 5, you must check data input or verify totals on forms prepared by others to detect errors and arithmetic, data entry, or procedures. Back in the day when I was processing tax returns, we did them manually. And the beauty about preparing tax returns now is that you're actually processing them in a software. So it's a lot easier to not only learn how to prepare taxes, but also prepare them as well. So a lot of you reduce a lot of errors in this process. Okay. And also we have a double check system. So after you put your information into the system, you send the client's information to us, and then we'll recheck your information to the best of our ability, okay, and then submit your return to the IRS. Okay, another thing that you have to do is compute taxes owed or overpaid using adding machines or personal computers, and complete entries on forms following tax form instructions and tax tables. Well, we teach you the old customary way of processing taxes, but again, because we're doing what you call e-filing, it's a lot simpler to process tax returns, and you don't have to do things manually, which consumes a lot of time. You also interview clients to obtain additional information on taxable income and deductible expenses and allowances. And that's something that's just automatic. We find out from the client what they're doing. And how they're doing it. So let's just say a person made $45,000 and they only have 2 dependents or 1 dependent. And what we want to do is reduce their adjusted gross income so they won't owe so many taxes. So we look at any expenses that they can deduct, such as charitable, charities that they've donated to, if they're paid in the union dues, if they purchased tools because of their job. A lot of these things can be reduced. If they had an issue with their home invasion, I mean, trust me, that you can write that off. There's so many different things that you can do to reduce your expenses. And also, if there's any other um, um, things that you can do to reduce, like I said, your adjusted gross income. You also prepare or assist in preparing simple and complex tax returns for individuals or small businesses. Now, don't let this scare you, because it can intimidate you. What we don't do a lot of complex tax returns. We really don't. We do mostly simple tax returns for startup to small businesses. That's basically generating less than $150,000 a year on the most part. Once we get to complex returns, we definitely refer them to an accountant, because they can actually do the paperwork, their income takes and expense statements to help us out. And usually that's the best way to do it. So we do mostly personal and startup to small business tax returns. And usually small businesses are usually landscapers, nail techs, child care providers, or adult care providers, those type of things. You will be reviewing financial records such as income statements and documentation of expenditures in order to determine forms needed to prepare tax returns. Once you get into the software, it'll lead you to the proper documents that you will need to prepare any tax returns, whether they're receiving a W-2, which that means they're working for someone and they're self-employed, or they work for someone and they're retired. That means they received a pension, or they're working for somebody and they received disability, or they're just totally strictly self-employed. The system automatically kind of guides you through, so you don't make too many mistakes. It kind of self-guides you. So it's, like I said, it's an awesome software. Okay, on your page 17, if you can just follow along. So what are some of the general key characteristics of becoming a greater tax return agent? Well, the prospect agent must possess, let's get rid of these markers here. Let's erase all this right here. All right, and we're gonna grab another marker so we can point out where we at. Okay, prospect agents must possess the ability to work well with others. That's key. It is difficult if you're a Grinch, and you know you are. You have to know how to talk to people. You have to know how to talk to your co-workers or agents that may be working with you, because there may be times where you may have to share a client. Let's say, for example, you met a client, but you're not able to process his return, and you're going to need another agent to do it. So you're going to be working with others, okay? And it is difficult to work with others if you do not know how to work with people, if you don't know how to talk to people, if if you've got attitude issues, or you're snappy, or you have there's something about your character that it makes people back off of you. These things you have to look at so that you can become more approachable as it relates to your personality and working with other people. Another thing is that you definitely need to have basic computer and internet knowledge. It is difficult to do this kind of work in this day and age if you don't. But however, we walk you through a lot of the basics of using the software. We also kind of hip you to all kinds of apps and softwares that can help grow your business, and we show you how it works. So that's okay. But we've had agents that just didn't work out well, and I'm not being negative, but it just didn't work out well because they had no computer experience at all. So we're teaching them, you know, we had agents that we had to teach them how to use a keyboard. What you literally have to, you know, how to use the keyboard or the printer or even the mouse, believe it or not. And you in this line of work, you have to have basic knowledge. And it's always a good idea to have a computer, a desktop computer, and or a really good laptop. Now, don't spend an astronomical amount of money on them. You can get some good laptops from different stores around the country. You know, computer stores, but you know, you definitely want a laptop. It's difficult to do this kind of work off of a cell phone, and trust me, there are people that actually came to me and say, well, can I do this off my phone? No, it's difficult to do on the phone. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's very difficult. Now, I just think it's not wise to present if you want to present a professional image, you definitely want to come with a laptop or a computer or both. I prefer both. I work from my computers when I'm actually processing, and then if I'm meeting with a client, especially if I'm not meeting with them in the office, if I'm meeting at a coffee shop or a internet cafe, which is a great place to meet your clients, or a library, or even their home, I'm going to take a laptop. You need knowledge to how to communicate with clarity, specifically in your own demographics. Okay, let's say you are living in the urban community, and you can connect with the urban community. You're in sync with a certain age demographics. Let's say African American, and you are 30 years of age. Well, that's a great thing, because now you dress the part, you look the part. Of course, you want to dress professionally, but you look the part, and usually people connect with that. I don't care if you're in the urban community. I don't care if you're in a suburb. I don't care if you're a woman, if you're whatever national, if you're Indian, Mexican, whatever, Native Indian, a Mexican, regardless, you want to be able to know your demographics, and you want to be able to know how to communicate with them. The way I communicate with them, I may use Ebonics if I'm in the urban community, or I may, if I'm, depending on your demographics, you want to be able to speak to them with knowledge about what you do and clarity. You want to possess, the next point is you want to possess a professional and courteous attitude and image. You want to make sure that you dress the part, you look the part from head to toe. Now, not everyone wants to dress up in a three-piece suit, but yet and still, if you have a unbuttoned shirt, let's just say it for a guy, you got an unbuttoned shirt at the top, decent, work, a business shirt, and it's unbuttoned, you're 25 years of age, and you got a tie on with a nice V-neck vest, sleeves rolled up, a pair of blue jeans, a nice pair of business casual dress shoes. That's a cool look for a young man that age, yet he's still falling in sync with his demographic image, but he's professional at the same time. And when you're coming that way, people tend to take you serious about what you do. A woman, if you're showing a lot of cleavage, if you're dressing too tight, too provocatively in your garments, that image is not going to take you too far. People aren't going to take you serious. And if you're definitely, working with couples, women can become intimidated by that. Not jealous, but it can be a turn off. And you might lose the couple because of the way you dress. So make sure you kind of cover up. Don't wear those skirts too tight, too short. And you want to dress professionally and within the demographics in which your clientele may be. What you're willing to learn. Another point you want to look at is you're willing to learn new and creative approaches. And that's key. You want to find ways to be able to build your clientele. And one great thing about Greater Tax Returns is we give you those tools. That's the fun part about doing this business, is that we introduce all kinds of ways to help you build your business. And we do it in such a way to where it saves you a lot of money and a lot of time where you don't have to do it. From giving you all kinds of, let's say, for example, you want to market on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or MySpace, believe it or not, or Black Planet. And you need banners. You need professional looking banners that you want to post with script content that you want to post with that banner to lead them to you. Then we give you all those tools, including the script. So you literally don't have to do anything to market. You want to put another point, you want to possess a total professional appearance. And we talked about that according to greater tax return standards. Again, that is so key. You know, walking out with your hair not styled and your nails not manicured and your clothes not together is not cool. You definitely want to have a professional image. You also want to maintain a neat, clean, and orderly standard, meaning you want to make sure that when you come into the office or when you're just out and about, you're working with clients, you want to make sure you're neat, clean, and orderly. You want to handle conflict with tact and poise. You know, for example, let's say you come into the office and you and an agent have a disagreement about something. Well, either leave the office or go somewhere where you are not overheard by any other clients within the office. That is just downright disrespectful to the other agents that are in the office and to the client as well. And it could turn the client off to where they may not want to even come back because of your behavior and how you handle conflict. So you want to keep that in mind, not only in the office with any of the locations of greater tax returns, but you want to maintain that attitude. If you decide you want to open up an office, you want your agents to maintain that kind of attitude as well. Also, just for those folks that want to have their own franchise, this training process you would use to train your folks as well, okay? You want to eliminate conflict. Another point to also consider is that you want to eliminate conflict with non-argumentative approach. You want to keep that in mind even when you're dealing with folks. And let's just say you have a situation where you can't handle it, you go to your superiors and let them help you handle the situation. And if it's a situation that is ugly, that agent may have to be removed from the whole process, from greater tax returns, because we want people to get along. We want people to work as congruently, as a family, as a positive unit, and that is key. Selling experience is not necessarily selling experience necessary but not required. It is good to have selling experience. Why? Because of the fact that, you know, most people who have selling experience know how to interact with people and know how to elicit a response. Now, do you have to have it? No. If you're open-minded, and that's so important, so important. If you are open-minded, you can learn how to interact with clients. But if you close yourself off and you're introverted, that means you don't want to connect with other people. It is hard to be in this line of work. It really is. You have to know how to engage with other people in every situation. Let's say you're in a grocery store and you're standing in line and you're waiting there patiently, and you know, you drum up a conversation with somebody. First of all, you want to have a business card in hand or a postcard with your information on it, and you want to have it readily available so that you can make a connect anywhere you're at. Okay, you're sitting there in the grocery store, standing there in the grocery store, and you drum up this conversation, and the next thing you know, you're being led to talk about what you do. You definitely want to, you know, hey, do it, can make the connection. Talk about what you do, introduce the person to what you do, get that name, get that phone number, get the email, and even if you never talk to them again, at least you've got the email where we're always connecting to them. Why? Because we'll put them in your database, so that they're always getting updates and RS news and all kinds of great educational information and resources for that potential client, to where they may say, you know what, I'm calling. It's a year later because I had someone else do my taxes, but I'm calling you because I've always received information from you, and your company seems to be so professional, and I like what you guys are doing, and I want you to do my taxes. So, you know, you want to be flexible, and you want your mind to be open and creative so you can make the connection. Grocery stores, you know, if you're going into your daycare, you're dropping your kids off, talk to the owner and say, hey, this is what I do. You're in a beauty shop. You're at the PTA meeting, at church, anywhere you're at, you want to make the connect to build your clientele. Post your business card in different restaurants, the laundromats, the grocery stores, you know, wherever you can make posts. Post on Craigslist, Facebook, social networks. You know, there's just so many creative ways to get you out there. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us in this video tutorial, and we look forward to seeing you in the next. And hey, don't forget to tell a friend, because when you bring a friend on board, you get 5% of whatever that friend does. So that's a great incentive. Thank you again for joining us, and look forward to seeing you in the next presentation.